I'll call the meeting to order. First order of business, we have some proclamations, and we have some visitors here for our first proclamation from the Status of Women and the Sexual Violence Awareness Week group. Violence Prevention South and Central. I'm trying to get it out there, Catherine. I'll invite all you guys up now, or whoever is representing you, to come up front and join me while we do the proclamation. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, thanks everyone for coming again. As I say last couple times, I think a lot of familiar faces here, people who are involved in this effort for a long time now, and I'm glad to see you all. And I know you got a event coming up again. The Take Back the Night event is coming up. That's held every year. Does anybody have any details or want to share those before we get into the proclamation?
We have our Take Back Tonight event going at Church Road Park, 7 p.m. on Thursday evening. And 7:30, sorry. And it's really to raise an awareness of domestic violence, violence prevention, and to really have it, front of mind for all of us, because it's all around us in our communities, and it's often in silence. So it's to make the awareness, and we invite the public and anybody really who's interested, male or female, to join us 7:30 on Thursday night.
Great. Thank you for that, Peggy. And thanks to all of you. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation now. Okay. Proclamation, Sexual Violence Awareness Week, September 15th to the 21st, 2024. Whereas Sexual Violence Awareness Week is the coming together of community groups to host events and awareness campaigns to provide information and education to the public around the issue of sexual violence. Whereas a part of Sexual Violence Awareness Week, Status of Women Central and Violence Prevention South and Central will host a Take Back the Night event as a means for individuals to unite and voice the need to end sexual violence, fear, and victim blaming. Whereas this crime occurs far too frequently, goes unreported far too often, and leaves long-lasting physical and emotional scars. Whereas at every level we must work to provide necessary resources to victims of every circumstance, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation and housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. Therefore, I, Barry Manuel, Mayor of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim the week of September 15th to the 21st, 2024 to be Sexual Violence Awareness Week. Okay. And I'll give one to a representative who would like to take one for your people, maybe Ken. And Robin is going to want to get a picture, so I'll just step back for a second here and stand next to Jean. Gideon, you're trying to get behind me, so you're blocking me.
No, I'm just like behind the
Good. Thanks again, everyone, for coming. We appreciate you coming down. Good luck with the event. Hopefully, you'll see some of us there, I'm sure. And as always, keep up good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll just wait a few minutes now to give those folks a chance to vacate. Not that they have to, but by choice. Okay, we'll move on to the second proclamation, which is National Forest Week. It's September 22nd to the 28th. Whereas Canada's forests are valuable, renewable resource that contributes to our economy and the livelihood of our communities. Whereas Canada's forest plays a crucial role in maintaining healthy ecosystems, clean air and water, and wildlife, whilst being an important aspect of climate change mitigation efforts. Whereas Grand Falls-Windsor and its citizens rely on the surrounding forests for livelihood, health, and recreation. Whereas this annual one-week campaign with the theme of Two-Eyed Seeing, welcoming all knowledge to sustain our forests, will be celebrated across Canada by individuals and organizations. Therefore, I, Mayor Barry Emanuel, do hereby proclaim September 22nd to the 28th, 2024 as National Forest Week in Grand Falls-Windsor. Okay, we will move into the agenda. First order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Hiscock, seconder. Councillor Knoll. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, the minutes from the meeting of number 596. We'll look for an adoption of those. Again, looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Dwyer, second by Councillor Little. Any discussion on the previous meeting's minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Any business arising out of the previous meeting's minutes? No business arising. We'll move on to the disbursement report. And before you start, Councillor Dwyer, I neglected to mention that our Deputy Mayor, Mike, is unable to join us this evening. He's having a bit of a health issue there, relatively minor. It's easy for me to say. But he's got an abscessed tooth, I might as well say it, because people will be wondering, and I'm sure Mike will be okay with it. But he was unable to make it. He's in some pain and unable to come down this evening. Councillor Dwyer, when you're ready.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the disbursement report dated September the 4th, 2024 in the amount of $2,580,740.54.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Little. Any discussion on the disbursement report? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Moving into committee reports, up first is Community Services, and because the Deputy Mayor isn't here, Councillor Little is going to help us out by reading the minutes of that meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Services met 5 p.m. Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. Present were chairperson, or not chairperson, actually.
Oh, that I know.
Yes, you were, sorry. Chairperson, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Amy Cody, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Dave Knoll, staff, Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer, and Todd Mercer, Director of Community Services. NL Health Services correspondence. The committee discussed the correspondence from NL Health Services on partnering with a new activator walking program in the community. The committee agrees in principle with the partnership and asked the director to get additional information about the program and report back at the next meeting. Digital sign correspondence. The committee reviewed the correspondence from a local business on the town interest in purchasing a digital sign located in the community. The committee recommended not to purchase a sign and to continue with supporting local businesses through ad purchases when required. Red Shoe Walk. The committee reviewed correspondence from the Red Shoe Walk Committee requesting our continued support for their event. The committee recommends continuing support for this great cause by providing Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium to the committee again this year. Ribs and Riders update. The director gave an update on the weekend's Ribs and Riders Festival, highlighting all those who attended the event were very pleased with the food and the event. The director informed the committee that Donnie Love from NTV's show Adventures Unknown participated in the event and highlighted other tourism opportunities in the community to produce a full-length show to be aired next season. The committee had discussion on a future marketing plan when the two events are proposed and better ways to separate the promotion, highlighting each event. The Director and Communications Officer will discuss the changes for future events of this scale. Ex-hockey correspondence. The committee reviewed correspondence from ex-hockey on the new board system that was purchased in partnership with the Exploits Valley Minor Hockey Association and are pleased with the design, look, and opportunities that the new equipment will provide its users. Canvas update. The Director informed the committee that Canvas is continuing to do work on the mural in Church Road Park and hopes to have it completed in early September. Canvas has also expressed interest in carrying out an additional family/kids mural on High Street. The committee recommends that the Director contact the owner of the proposed property site to see if access can be given and to see if there are interest in partnering on the project. Culinary Fall Festival. The Director informed the committee on the proposed Culinary Fall Festival. The Director informed the committee that with both stadiums in operation, it is proposed to move the event to the Grand Falls Golf Course on October 18th and 19th and to have an exclusive event. The Director will continue to work on the festival content, the chefs to be invited, and the proposed budget with anticipated ticket sales for mid-November. Seniors Fair. The Director informed the committee that work is underway for the annual Seniors Fair scheduled for September 24th, 2024. The committee has received significant interest from the business community in booth space with over 50% already booked. MUN Faculty of Nursing correspondence. The committee reviewed the correspondence from the Faculty of Nursing on their request to use the Main Street ball fields for their annual tournament scheduled for September 28, 2024. The committee recommended that the Director work with the group to make the day tournament a success again this year. Ski Club application. The Director informed the committee that he met with both the COA and the province to discuss the submitted application for new equipment and trail improvements to the Exploits Nordic Ski facility. A final decision should be made in the coming weeks, and if successful, work will start immediately and equipment will be ordered. Gordon Pinsent statue update. The Director informed the committee that the town has received the contract from the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure for the bronze statue of the late Gordon Pinsent. The committee discussed setting up a working committee on the unveiling and activities surrounding the event. The committee recommended that the committee have additional discussion on the event at the next community services meeting. New business. Seniors and technology. The committee had some discussion on offering a free workshop for seniors in technology. The Director will work with the economic development staff to see if it is being offered in the community. If required, staff will work with the seniors clubs in the community to develop a course based on the needs and demand. Kayak launch update. The Director informed the committee that the ramp leading to the new kayak launch has been built to provide access to those with mobility issues. The committee will discuss location options for the kayak launch for the 2025 season. The committee also recommended that the communications officer put together a promotional video for the launch and how it can be used. This is the first of its kind in Newfoundland and Labrador, and it has been well received by all users thus far. Community Center update. The committee had some discussions on the next steps for moving forward with the community center. The committee recommended that the committee discuss the next steps at the next committee of the whole meeting with all the committee members in attendance. The committee was in that thing like 6. The meeting was adjourned at 7 p.m. and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Thank you, Councillor Little. It's been moved by Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Any discussion or comment on the community services minutes? Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items here. I want to thank our Community Services Director again for being innovative in his attempts to draw residents into the town. And the Ribs and Riders event, was a great concept. Mother Nature just kind of kiboshed it after a summer blessed with the most sunshine that we've had in decades. The one time we had an outdoor event, we had a mini monsoon, shall we say. But, it just goes to show that, community services are always at the forefront, trying to bring new opportunities to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor and surrounding area. Just want to say thanks for trying, and you never know till you try, right, how it goes. And second little bitty, on the kayak launch down in Gorge Park at the boat launch. You know, I think there's some issue there that people think that it's completely finished, and for persons like they have at the Y, that, you know, there's a chair to get you into the kayak, but it's not that far. We're still having some discussions on, you know, how mobile a person is or can't or isn't, and still able to use that kayak launch. But just want to let the residents know that we're still in discussions about, you know, what the final product will look like. It was nice to see us down the other day, last week, and there was still a half dozen kayakers and a number of elderly women, and they were out enjoying the kayak launch facility. So I want to say again, thanks for, you know, digging deep and finding innovative ways to get people out off their iPads as much as we use them and enjoy a bit of fresh air. So thanks to the Community Service Director. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, great to see that for sure, and there's a lot of people enjoying it. And just to add on to your comments, because we do intend to get that to a point where it will be fully accessible, and it just isn't yet, and there's some work to do that, you know, it's going to take some time to complete. Okay, Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one of the things, just like to remind the citizens of our State Fair, the Seniors Wellness Fair at the Joel Byrne on September the 24th from 10 until 2. We have 45 exhibitors that are lined up right now to go. Entertainment by UC5, the gazebo, Tim Hortons gazebo, free coffee and tea, healthy snacks. It's going to be a great, great day. And the thing is, it's free. It's all free. It's all kind of giveaways, and we're going to have a special commemorative tote bag, but there's only limited supply, so I tell people, be early in order to get one. But the last year we had, I think Mr. Mayor was over, I think it was between 500 and 600 people that attended that. It was a great day, so we're hoping it's going to be even bigger and better this year. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. And I mean, for anybody out there that may have thought about going and haven't before, we'd encourage you to go, because 45 exhibitors, all different kinds of topics that are all geared towards seniors and, you know, and making things easier, I guess, and giving opportunities, that sort of thing. And of course, we do welcome citizens from other towns as well, not just Grand Falls-Windsor. Okay. Any other comment or discussion? Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to thank our Director of Community Service this evening. Councillor Little spoke about the Gordon Pinsent statue, and tonight we're going to do a resolution for $201,000, 100% of it funded, which was exceptional. Thank you for your efforts in getting that funding. My persistent nagging probably helped in ensuring that you kept on, but awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great to see, and I'm not sure if we've shared that. I know we had it out during Salmon Festival, the concept, but I'm not sure if we shared it publicly yet or not. We have? Okay, good. Well, it looks good, and we look forward to that and getting it installed. It's going to be fantastic. Any other comments? The Red Shoe Walk, I think, was mentioned there. It's this Saturday, right? At noon, I believe, at Joel Byrne Stadium. Yeah, so anybody who wants to support that event, you're welcome. And the canvas and the murals looks fantastic. Great, great work. And if you haven't seen the work that's been done in Church Road Park to fix up our murals and make them look bright and beautiful again, we got to thank Canvas Art Society for doing that for us. And we're also talking about other murals that they could do, new ones in town. So stay tuned. Culinary tickets, I just want to mention quickly, as the minutes reflect there, we may have to go to a smaller venue this year, which means tickets will be harder to get. And that's the event where we have chefs coming in from all across Canada, and we have the stations where people can visit each station and taste the culinary dishes by the various chefs. So look for when the tickets are going to go on sale, sometime before the end of the month for sure. They will, and we'll find that on our website and Facebook page and anywhere else that we can get it out there. Okay, I think that's it for me. No other comments? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Move on to Committee of the Whole. Councillor Little, you're up again.
Thank you, Mayor. Committee of the Whole met 5 p.
To have a minute removed from the Committee of the Whole, the minute dealing with the Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Conference and Trade Show, please.
Okay, Councillor Cody is making a motion to separate the minute of municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador from the minutes, and we would deal with that separately. So we're looking for a seconder on the motion to separate. Seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Point, I did remove myself from the discussion at the meeting and did request a separate minute, but sometimes that gets lost in discussion. So just so it's clear when the attendance is read as well, that I was not in attendance for that portion of the meeting. Thank you.
We can probably amend those minutes to reflect that if you wish. Okay, so we do have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, we'll go ahead and deal with the larger set of minutes and just refrain from that particular piece there. Councillor Little, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Committee of the Whole met on 5 p.m. Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. In attendance were Chairperson Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, members Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Amy Cody, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, Councillor Dave Knoll, staff Darren Finn, Chief Administrative Officer, Nelson Chapman, Director of Public Works and Development, Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services and Town Clerk, Todd Mercer, Director of Community Services, and Robert Hannaford, our Communications Officer. Correspondence from a resident regarding ATV and dirt bike nuisance driving. The committee discussed a letter received from a resident concerned about dangerous and nuisance driving behaviors involving ATVs and dirt bikes across the town. The resident highlighted concerns for safety due to these activities. The committee reviewed reports from municipal enforcement, which indicated over 60 stops in the first half of 2024, resulting in 7 fines, 4 warnings, and 3 confiscated vehicles. Recent collaboration with the RCMP has yielded 17 more inspections, leading to 6 more confiscations, multiple insurance and registration tickets, and some criminal charges. The committee recognizes the danger and illegality of these behaviors, but acknowledged the challenge in identifying and stopping some drivers. Therefore, the committee recommends that staff continue its measures to increase enforcement and community education. Additionally, the committee acknowledges the parents' responsibility in knowing how their children are using such vehicles, likely purchased by them, the parents. Mill lands. The committee reviewed the August 8, 2024 Phase 2 Environmental Site Assessment Report for the Abitibi Access Road and the purchase and sale agreement negotiated between the government and town management. The environmental assessment did not reveal any concerns regarding the land's suitability for maintaining an access road. The committee recommends that council approve enter into the purchase and sale agreement to acquire the 3 parcels of land, including the mill access road, the access connection to Lincoln Road, and the land surrounding the Heritage Society Building Training Center. National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. The committee discussed the federal holiday known as Truth and Reconciliation Day, scheduled for September 30th. The committee recommends that council observe this holiday to recognize and honor the importance of reconciliation. Community Center. The committee discussed the concept of building a new community center and requested an update on the project's progress. Staff and the mayor noted that the premier had committed to participating in the engineering study for this project. The committee recommends that staff expedite efforts to engage the community and secure necessary government commitments for other funding. Labor Day Parade. The committee reviewed the Labor Day Parade held on September 2nd, 2024. The event saw high participation from both parade entrants and spectators, and the committee was pleased with the organization and recognition of organized labor. The committee thanks staff for the efforts in organizing the event and supporting activities before, during, and after the parade. The meeting adjourned at 7:45 p.m., and I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Dwyer. Any comments on the Committee of the Whole minutes? Set number 1. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, I'd just like to once again talk about the Labor Day Parade. Great success. We thank, on behalf of the Labor Day Committee, thank all of those who participated, and the kids with their bikes and ATVs. Some of the ATVs were decorated, and the parade floats themselves and people walking. Also, with the town's corporation, of course, and the barbecue on High Street. And that was just a great success. And of course, afterwards at Church Road Park, free entertainment, bouncy castles, a great, great day from one and all. I'd like to thank the town on behalf of the Labor Day Committee and all those who showed up and participated in it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
And thank you for your involvement as well, Councillor Hiscock, and of course, Deputy Mayor, who's not here tonight, who's our liaison, I guess, on the Labor Day Committee. Mr. Ron Smith was the chair, and they get a bunch of volunteers, so thanks to everybody. It was great to see, and as always, to see the tradition continue is definitely, something to behold when you know a lot of other places have let it go, right? Altogether.
6 years, Mr. Mayor.
106 years. Wow. Absolutely. Okay, so any other comments, discussion on the Committee of the Whole minutes? Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to save this for new business at the end of the meeting, but discussing with the ATVs, the nuisance drivers, et cetera, it kind of hits home with me because I've been a dirt bike rider my whole existence sort of thing, and I've had a lot of calls in the past 10 days. And just kind of put it succinctly, I mean, if you're underage, you can't be driving through town. That's just how it is. If you're at your cabin and you want to let your child run around your cabin on a quad or a dirt bike, that's what you do on your own time at a cabin. But for, within the municipality, if you're underage, and that's the way it's going to be treated. And sadly, we've had, a dozen or dozen and a half nuisance drivers who've kind of really ruined the whole situation for all of the riders in the town. And we've tried to be, ATV friendly, and I think they've just hijacked that whole concept and thought of it as the wild, wild west, and that's the way it was until the RCMP, the MEOs, et cetera, brought heat down on them, in the past couple of weeks. And again, you saw what happened. There's a lot of confiscations, some fines, and some criminal charges laid against people, for behavior behind the wheel. We'll leave it at that. I just want to remind parents, that you are still liable at the end of the day for your child. And if you let your kid go out on an ATV, a dirt bike, and you're running through town and you're underage, well, you run the risk of, liability for, should hopefully that accident doesn't happen. But, it's just not a good idea to be at that anymore. The ATV friendly is to get people in town to the trails and exit, and for people coming by our community to get them into town. That's the whole concept behind it. It's not just to let your kid run wild down the road on the back tire, and nobody wants to see them wind up as a hood ornament or hurt. So just let parents know you are responsible at the end of the day. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, no, and you say hopefully no accidents, but as we all know, it seems like every other week we're hearing of a devastating ATV or dirt bike accident somewhere in the province. And we've seen many fatalities in the last, 5 to 10 years particularly. So that in itself is a concern, and obviously bringing the safety of other citizens into it as well. One question that I was asked several times about this, and I did have some time on open line last week, which was good to be able to explain things, but as Councillor Knoll said, we want to be ATV friendly. So the intention is to follow the legislation. And the legislation says that when you're using roadways on the side of a road to get from your house to the country, we'll say, the mill bridge, the trailway, that kind of stuff, as long as you stay within the speed limit of 20 kilometers an hour or under, and as long as you have your vehicle insured, registered, that kind of thing, you're fine.
You have to get to the side of the road.
Side of road. It has to be side of road.
You had to stay to the side.
Yes, yeah.
You can't just drive in the lane.
No, it's on the side of the road I'm referring to, and that's the law. So for people out there who, and we know half the community has ATV side-by-sides, that kind of stuff, and have been, looking for this, you still can. Provided you have everything in order and you're going to obey the speed limit, by all means, leave your house and go to where you need to access the country to leave town. because it's not for going to the store or, doing any of your business within town. It's meant to leave your residence and get the fastest route to get out of town safely and conveniently. So I just wanted to make sure people understand that, because a lot of people thought that all of a sudden, whoa, we're not going to allow it at all, and everything is over, but certainly that's not fair to those responsible drivers out there, and there are many, and also, not fair to the people who want to get into our town either, as you had mentioned, Councillor Knoll. So it's a big industry, and we will continue to support that, and we have seen a big difference. I know a lot of people are commenting. I know in my neighborhood it's been a bad area. Councillor Dwyer's area, I know it's been bad. Councillor Cody's, I guess just about everybody's area, and that just goes to show that the issue is all over town, much the same as speeding. And unfortunately, over the years, we've had some challenges trying to police this, and legislative changes have helped, and the RCMP cooperation is crucial. And we know their resources are limited, but they have made a concerted effort to crack down on this along with our MEOs. And that in itself has allowed us to be able to be successful thus far. And I think the message is out there, because if people are getting their vehicles confiscated and got to pay a fine and got to pay to get their vehicles back, then the message is going to be sent loud and clear. So I'm glad, and I want to thank the RCMP and our MEOs and everybody else, and just want to assure the general public that we do want to be ATV friendly. And when it comes to the mill lands that was also mentioned there, our intention is to have a right-of-way across the old mill lands to allow ATVs and side-by-sides to get safely from the trailway to the mill bridge, something that you couldn't do before. And we have been, I know I have been 9 years lobbying, and there's been several times, believe it or not, that we got too close to this point, we thought, and only to get knocked back right to the beginning again. Change the minister, change the ADM, change of this, change of that, too many departments involved. But the end appears to be in sight, and we know we're already looking at plans to how that will be accomplished, allowing ATVs and side-by-sides to use that stretch. And it won't be for vehicle traffic, not until hopefully in years to come we're able to connect Scott Avenue and Tulip Drive, which is also a goal in the years to come. But for ATVs and side-by-sides, and I think particularly the people who live on Lincoln Road, Riverview Road, Carmelite Road, those streets, they have been absolutely driven, pardon the pun, with ATVs all hours of day and night and all speeds and that. So we expect that this will make a big difference in terms of mitigating that issue, and combined with the crackdown on the abusers, then that should make for a lot more peaceful neighborhood for those folks, and we're so glad that we're to this point. So stay tuned for some official news on that very soon. Any other comments on the first set of committee of the whole minutes? Hearing none, we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Okay, Councillor Cody, we'll ask you to excuse yourself. And Councillor Little, when you're ready, if you could deal with that minute, please.
Committee of the Whole met Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. In attendance were Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, members Mayor Barry Manuel, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little, and Councillor Dave Knoll. Staff, Darren Finn, Chief Administrative Officer. Nelson Chapman, Director of Public Works and Development, Steve Goss, Director of Corporate Services and Town Clerk, Todd Mercer, Director of Community Services, and Robert Hannaford, Communications Officer. Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Conference and Trade Show. The committee discussed the upcoming Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador Conference and Trade Show scheduled for November 7th to 9th in Gander. The committee recommends that council representatives participate in this conference to benefit from networking and learning opportunities. I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
It's been moved by Councillor Little, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Any discussion on the minute? Councillor Hiscock.
If I may, just a clarification, Mr. Mayor, with regards to Councillor Cody. She's president, a lot of people know, she's president of Municipalities Newfoundland Labrador. When we have a discussion on anything that pertains to one of us, she removed herself from the meeting, and of course, just the minutes are just being read out now for the public view, but that's why she removed herself again, just to make sure that there is no conflict of interest, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks for clarification. Any other comments on that minute? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Mr. Knoll, if you would, please. Okay, we will move on to the Public Works and Development Committee. When you're ready, Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works and Development met at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September 5th. In attendance, myself as a chairperson. Members were Councillor Bob Hiscock, Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, and Mayor Barry Manuel. Councillors in attendance, Councillor Holly Dwyer, Councillor Dave Knoll, Councillor Andrew Little, and staff Darren Finn, Chief Administrative Officer, Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer, and Nelson Chapman, Director of Public Works and Development. Water quality. The committee discussed the water quality around town. Recently, there have been some issues in the Hill Road and Popular Road areas. It is intermittent and staff will flush areas as needed. Random testing continues and results are good. Staff will flush the lines if chlorine levels are lower than normal or iron levels are elevated somewhat. 4 of the flushing valves are working and others will be installed upon arrival. The water levels at the dam are at the lowest levels seen in decades, and the town has paused its annual flushing program until it improves. The committee recommends staff install the valves upon arrival and issue a notice out of water conservation in the town. New proposed cemetery location. The committee was informed of the results of some investigation into the proposed location of the new cemetery. The area consisted of rocky ground and solid rock, and solid rock was encountered within 1 meter to 1.5 meters from the surface. This would not be suitable for a cemetery. Staff proposed another location and would like to investigate further. The committee recommends staff continue to investigate a new site and report back to the committee. 4 units as of right. The committee reviewed the proposed changes to the regulations under the Municipal Plan Amendment Number 10 and Development Regulation Amendment Number 14. These proposed changes will add language that would potentially permit up to 4 residential units per lot. These changes do not allow multiple units if the lot does not meet all the necessary characteristics, but would help increase housing availability within the developed urban areas. The committee recommends staff commence the process for these proposed amendment changes. Street names. The committee reviewed the list of potential street names on file that have been submitted for consideration. Additional names are needed for approval for future development areas. The committee recommends consulting the public to gather additional names for consideration before making the final decision. Once all information is received, a decision will be made in early 2025. Spruce Woods Estates. The committee reviewed the updated design for the Spruce Woods Estates subdivision. The proposed subdivision agreement was also reviewed. Staff met with the developer and they are ready to enter an agreement that has the potential for up to 200 units. The committee recommends this agreement be signed and are excited about the new development to help address the housing need in the community. Incentive program update. The committee was updated on the status of the program. The program has been well received among builders and developers. Currently, there have been 3 housing incentive applications received. and a developer incentive application will be forthcoming after the signed agreement with Spruce Woods Estates subdivision. The committee is pleased with the program and encourages other builders and developers to apply for the program as it is only available for a limited time. The committee also recommends staff continue to promote the programs. The meeting was adjourned at 7:35 p.m., and I move the recommendations and the report of the committee.
Okay, it's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any comments or discussion on the Public Works minutes? Councillor Cody.
Well, actually, I just wanted to speak on the water conservation, as you hear in the minute there. The water level is extremely low. It's not to a level where we're in trouble, but we want to mitigate that by exercising our water conservation. So we did put a notice on Facebook reminding residents of the water conservation that technically is in effect all year round, not just when there's a warm spurt or low water levels. So if we try to follow this, well, not year round because, well, I guess maybe people are watering their rinks in the winter, I don't know, but maybe they should adhere to this as well at that time. But our water conservation message is on our Facebook page. It's also available on our website. But odd home address numbers can water lawns on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Even numbered homes can water lawns on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday. There's absolutely no watering lawns on Mondays. New lawns can be watered as needed, and there's no watering lawns between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Excuse me, so no watering, leaving your sprinkler on overnight and whatnot. And I noticed too, the weekend, people pressure washing their driveways or their decks and whatnot. Technically, same as watering your lawns, you're using water, so we would, recommend that you refrain from doing that, especially on the days that are listed. And the other thing I wanted to mention was the street names. So as mentioned in the minutes, we do have an inventory of street names that have been submitted from residents within town, out of town, all over. We are going to be putting a notice up now after this meeting, not right after this meeting, but shortly, within the next few days, I guess. Requesting residents, if they have a street name or a name in mind that they would like to see a street named after, we would ask them to send in a submission. State the name, state the reason why you are suggesting this name, give a little bit of history, on the individual. It doesn't even have to be an individual. It could be a place or, a memorable area in town or something, that people recognize in the town, a landmark or anything. And submit that. Send it in to us. We're going to compile all of the information, all the submissions that we get. If you submit a name, it's not a guarantee that that name is going to be selected. It's not on a first come, first served basis. Like, we don't start from the first letter we received and end with the last letter. We'll look at all of the information. We'll read all the submissions. We'll, tabulate amongst the counselors, rank the names of which, based on the submission where we see them. And what areas as well, because sometimes a certain name will fit in a certain area more so than it would fit in another area of the community just based on history, and sometimes it's preference, from the individual submitting the name that they would like it in a certain area as well. So we'll take all that into consideration. So I would encourage residents to keep an eye out for that post and get those into us. I think we said probably like the end of the year before we would close off accepting the submissions. And that's just for this round. You can submit anytime. But if you want it in consideration for our next round of name selection, then we would encourage you to do that by the end of the year. And that'll give us a really good pool of names to use when we are working on our new subdivisions and streets, so that we have a good selection and that we recognize, pillars in the community, pioneers, new people who came into the community who made a difference, or like I said, landmarks or special places in the community that you would like to see recognized on a street. Thank you.
Yeah, no, well said, and we do encourage people to get the names in if they so choose. We have submissions from 2024 all the way back to 2002, I believe, still existing. So as Councillor Cody said, it's a merit system, so we try to base it on our best opinions based on the submissions of which name is most deserving, and then to prioritize those and go on the list for the department to be able to take those streets when they're needed. And we hope there'll be lots needed in the next few years particularly. Any other comments on the public works? None? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, the couple resolutions there to take care of. So the first resolution is going to be introduced by Councillor Dwyer. Oh, I skipped over corporate services. And no one told me until now. Okay, we'll go back and do corporate services. My apologies. So with that said, Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Corporate Services met 5 p.m. Wednesday, September 4th, 2024. Present were myself as Chair, Councillor Dave Knoll, Councillor Amy Cody, Deputy Mayor Mike Brown, Councillor Bob Hiscock, Councillor Andrew Little. Staff in attendance, Darren Finn, our Chief Administrative Officer, Robin Hannaford, Communications Officer, Steve Goss, Director, Corporate Services. Labor Report. The committee reviewed the labor costs as of week 33. Total labor was $2,377,790. This was $215,921, or 8.3% under budget. Committee is pleased with the labor costs overall as we near the end of the busy summer season. The committee recognizes the amount of work that gets completed within our town and asks staff to continue to monitor labor costs. Disbursement report. The committee reviewed the disbursement report in the amount of $2,580,740.54 and recommends this be presented at the next council meeting. Taxation receivables analysis. The committee reviewed the taxation receivables analysis as of August 31st, 2024. The total taxes receivable at that date is $4,500,178. compared to $4,262,660 in 2023, an increase of 5.6%. Collection plans are underway for amounts in arrears, and the committee discussed alternative options, including tax sales and the use of collection agencies. It remains a priority of council to improve the collection of outstanding tax balances. The committee encourages all residents and businesses to ensure they pay their outstanding balances as soon as possible or contact staff at the town hall to set up a payment plan. Interest continues to accrue monthly on outstanding tax balances, so please act quickly to avoid additional interest charges. Capital spending update. The committee reviewed a capital spending report outlining a summary of capital expenditures to date in 2024. To the end of August 2024, there has been a total of $1,672,301 spent in government-shared infrastructure projects and $3,404,463 spent in town capital items. The committee is pleased with the spending level so far in 2024, despite the rising costs of most expenses. There were several items that were required to be purchased in the year that were not budgeted for, but those were able to happen through savings in other areas. Municipal Capital Works Program funding. The committee reviewed a draft resolution for the funding related to the Gordon Pinsent statue that is being 100% funded by the provincial government. The total amount of funding is $201,250, including HST. The committee recommends acceptance of this funding. The meeting adjourned at 7:15 p.m. I move the recommendations and report of this committee.
Okay, moved by Councillor Dwyer, seconded by Councillor Little. Anybody for discussion or comments on the corporate services minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Motion carried. Okay, next up, we have the resolutions this time. Counselor Dwyer, when you're ready, please.
Resolution GFW 2024-400, Gordon Pinsent Statue Municipal Capital Works Program. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor qualifies for funding under the Municipal Capital Works Program, whereas all projects and funding allocation under these agreements must be approved through the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, and whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has been approved for funding under the Municipal Capital Works Program, therefore be it resolved that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor agrees to enter into an agreement for municipal capital works funding in the amount of $201,250, HST included.
Okay, it's been proposed by Counselor Dwyer, seconded by Counselor Little. Any discussion on the first resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Before I ask for nays and finalize this, I just do want to mention that we want to thank the province again for coming up with that full amount, because we were talking and wondering about fundraisers and getting a committee and going towards the family and other places. So the Premier, when he visited here during the Salmon Festival, brought that announcement with him, and we're very grateful. So we've got the ayes, any nays? Motion carried. Okay, second resolution, Councillor Cody, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution GFW 2024-401, Agreement of Purchase and Sale for Mill Lands. Whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has reviewed the Phase 2 environmental site assessment dated August 8, 2024 for the Abitibi Access Road, and the environmental assessment revealed no concerns regarding the land's suitability for maintaining an access road. And whereas the Council of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor has reviewed and negotiated agreement of purchase and sale between the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador as represented by the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure and the town. And whereas the town wishes to acquire 3 parcels of land from TI for the purpose of maintaining a public road, access to Lincoln Road, and the land surrounding the Heritage Society Building Training Center. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor hereby approves the agreement of purchase and sale for the acquisition of the following parcels of land. Parcel 1, 8.922 hectares for the purpose of a public road. Parcel 2, 0.589 hectares for the purpose of a public road. And Parcel 3, 2.095 hectares for the purpose of a public museum. And further resolved that the council authorizes the mayor and the chief administrative officer to enter into the agreement of purchase and sale with His Majesty the King in right of Newfoundland and Labrador as represented by the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure for the price of $1 Canadian, subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the agreement. And I move adoption of this resolution.
It's been moved by Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. Any discussion on the second resolution? Hearing, Councillor Hiscock, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, there's a long time coming. There's a long time coming. And I'm very proud now to stand here and say job well done by all involved, that we've been after this mill lands for a number of years. And hopefully once it's all signed, sealed, delivered, and is ours, is going to help alleviate a lot of our problems, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
We could have had it 9 years ago if we want to take all the liabilities with it. We chose not to do that and went through 9 years of negotiating. Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Resolution passed. Any notice of motion? No notice of motion. We'll move into other business. And Councillor Cody, you're up first.
I just wanted to mention again, the Take Back the Night Walk is happening at Church Road Park on Thursday, September the 19th at 7:30 p.m. And there will be musical performances from Candace Bowers and Jess Stanley, and refreshments will be served after the event. And as Peggy mentioned with the committee tonight, that is open to men and women and children. So we'd like to see a large turnout there for that event. It's a very important event as this is Sexual Violence Awareness Week. We see in the news all too frequently that sexual violence and domestic violence is happening, it's important for us to take a stand and to support each other in events like this to raise awareness. So encourage everyone to get out to that event on Thursday, the 19th. Also, I wanted to say congratulations to and happy retirement to Stu Dyke with the Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department. 35 years of service, and had a little retirement celebration for him at the fire hall. I think it was last week, it might have been the week before. Time flies. I just asked Stu, 35 years, amazing. And I believe Stu was, and Holly, you'll have to correct me, Councillor Dwyer, he was the last volunteer from the Lincoln Road Fire Hall. Yeah, so that in itself is, it's pretty amazing that, he was the last one to come over when the town's amalgamated and the fire hall moved to its current location. That, he's the last one from that Lincoln Road station, and people these days don't even know that that used to be a fire station. So I just want to say to Stu, congratulations. Thank you for 35 years of selfless service to the town of Grand Falls-Windsor and its residents. Countless hours of training involved, of just, weekends, additional services for, fire school, helping with the youth firefighters program, fundraising for the fire department, special events that went on in the town, participation in parades, everything. Stu has always been there. And, while he's retiring from the fire department, he still has plenty to do. He's still doing his cranberry farming and is growing vegetables now as well. And is just going to try to celebrate his retirement and spend time with family and spend time on his farm. So again, just thank you to Stu, and best wishes for a long and happy and healthy retirement from the fire hall. Thank you.
Congratulations, Stu. And it was the week before last because it was COVID week for me, and that's why I missed it. So congratulations to Stu as well. Councillor Knoll.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Just a couple of items. That time of the year you're driving around town, and sadly, like me, I'm always looking in the trees, and not just for bugs, but this time of year you're looking for fruit. It's time for harvest, that sort of stuff. And I took a picture of down in my backyard today. I've got one tree that's buckled over this year. I mean, bizarre as it is, hot, dry summer, but great on the apples. Never got any plums. So I just want to encourage residents, if you've got an apple tree or some other harvestable fruit tree in your property, lots of school breakfast programs could avail of any extra fruit. And for some students, sadly, it might be the only piece of fruit that they get that day or that week. So I encourage everybody, if you've got extra in your house, hold on your property. If you know somebody else that may even out of town, and versus letting them fall to the ground and just compost, please try to reach out to the local school and or myself or other counselors here at the town, and we'll try to make sure that that fruit gets to a good place and to a very rewarded student, shall we say. And September 22nd is World Rivers Day, another little event that's near and dear to my heart. Sadly, when I'm out and about in the countryside, I see all too often, after we've cleaned up areas, give it a year or two, some of these trails are chinched in again. Heading towards Lamutz the other day, looking for some kayak launch points, and found a few side roads. And again, the amount of garbage here is staggering. I don't know what goes through people's minds. I really don't understand. I can't fathom it all. How you can come down from your cabin, you enjoy the countryside, and to take your whole couch and your furniture and your appliances and lob it in the countryside, and it's out of sight, out of mind, but, somebody else has to deal with that and maybe there for years, unless we have volunteers who go into the woods and dig the stuff out, and students on their quads and ATVs with their trailers and bring it to the mill or some other sites. And again, thanks for the town, community services director, et cetera, again, for helping out again, with a barbecue for the students or all the participants actually, like we've done for the past 10 years. The town for supplying some labor and loaders with the loaders, et cetera. Just as a whole community event to try and keep our countryside clean and pristine. And again, it just blows my mind that somebody could just, leave all their garbage behind and walk away from it. Really don't understand that. And lastly, for me, being a retired teacher, but I still near and dear to the heart again, school is back in, and asking people to slow down, especially at all your bus stops. And kids are they're energetic in the morning. Most of them are still actually energetic in the morning, out at the bus stops and talk with their neighbors and their friends, and they may not be cognizant of where they are in and on the sides of the roads. And sometimes they may wander out into the thoroughfare, et cetera. So always be cognizant year-round, but more so now that school is just in session. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Knoll. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. One is the past week, now we're a bit busy delivering certificates to people on behalf of the town. Marie Tate celebrated her 90th birthday, and Mrs. Edith Head was 100. And this past Sunday, I presented a certificate on behalf of the town to Bert and Marina Short, their 65th wedding anniversary. So that was a lot of fun, for sure. Also, Mr. Mayor, one item, Shake, Rattle, and Stroll Walk, fundraiser for Parkinson's Newfoundland Labrador. All proceeds go directly towards funding programs and services for people living with Parkinson's disease in central Newfoundland. It's taking place Sunday, September the 29th. Now, I don't know exact time, Mr. Mayor, of that or where it's going to be at, but if you'd like to participate or if you have been diagnosed with Parkinson's, contact Jacqueline Connors, and her number is 709-290-0767. So it's 290-0767. And I'll end on a sad note, Mr. Mayor. Sunday we lost a beloved member of our community, Mr. Don Pelly. Know Don since the 70s, and we go back a long way together. Great guy. Every time I talk to Don, we always left with a smile. Don was an outfitter for a number of years. When he retired from outfitting, he went to work with Memorial University, mapping indigenous sites throughout the Exploits River and Red Indian Lake. But condolences go out to all Don's family and friends. Like I said, he'll be greatly missed within our community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, for sure. Don Pelly had a big passion for what he believed in when it came to the river and the archaeology, and he was involved in a lot of things. He was involved in Irma in the early days. He was community-minded in a number of organizations, big contributions. He obviously, I think at one time he ran for mayor, right? Yeah, so he didn't make it, but Don was always someone who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, and again, very passionate about the community, very passionate about everything that he was involved in, and he'll be sadly missed by a lot of people, including us at the town. Councillor Little.
Thank you, Mayor. The topic's come up a number of times tonight, but ATVs. We do hear about fatalities very often, but you really don't hear about how many accidents there are. I've only been teaching for a lot fewer years than Councillor Knoll, and but in my short time, I've literally had dozens of students that have been killed or maimed in accidents, broken legs, broken arms, head injuries, very serious accidents. You really don't hear about the injuries as much as the fatalities, but every single year, students are getting injured in our town or in our area, every single year. And those are very preventable things, because most of these students shouldn't be operating these vehicles without any supervision, like Councillor Knoll said earlier. So I just figured I'd touch on that again. It came to my mind there as Councillor Knoll was discussing this, how many students I know of that have been life-altering injuries, if not killed, right? Like if you break your leg when you're 13 years old, that's something you're walking with a limp for a very long time, if not your whole life. So those are very serious things, and once it happens, you can't really take it back. So it's important that people think about those repercussions for, you know, you want to give your kid freedom and all those things, but you don't want to deal with the terrible results. They're not toys, right? They're called toys, but they're not toys. They're very dangerous if not used properly. Besides that, the gymnastics program is still open for registration. There's spots left in most programs, I think, and season 8 is gearing up to be a great season from what I'm told. So the program's always growing, which means they're doing something right. So if you want your child to get involved with that, the Facebook group and their website is how you sign up. Encourage anyone to do it. It's, my son loves going there. He jumps around, bounces around. He comes home, he's sweating. It's all good. It's relatively safe. And Modern Hockey and Can Skate are both open for registration as well. Those programs for first-time users are supported through the town's first-time skater program, where families can get most, if not all, of their registration costs back, depending on which program you do. Both great programs, and hopefully we see growing numbers again this year. Last year we had, I think it was quite high numbers in the first-time skater program, and both associations were doing well, so hopefully we see that again this year. And that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Little. Councillor Dwyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Had the honor of attending the Urban Municipalities Conference in CBS, the August 23rd weekend, where we talked about municipalities, urban municipalities' challenges, operational issues, and governance issues. And it was very interesting to attend. We looked at how M&L, Municipalities NL, Amy is the president, can support communities in those regards. Interestingly, one of the main issues that came up was the issue of public incivility directed towards elected officials, and the excessive time spent in code of conduct and access to information request. So given last meeting, it was interesting to see that many municipalities are facing the same challenges, and it will become an issue not only for the officials that are elected and representing the town, but future elections. You know, it would be a deterrent if government doesn't put something in place to deter people from that activity, because people will not seek to be reelected or to become involved in politics. We're seeing it at a municipal level, but also in provincial and federal jurisdictions as well. So I wanted to just state that. Councillor Noel spoke about all the apples on his tree. I don't have one, but I have had some luck with peppers and tomatoes this year. I wanted to thank Wayne Thomas and Cyril Tubbert, Mary and Will Olford, who are frequent the community garden. It's been a great season, and a lot of happy gardeners. We also have in Grand Falls-Windsor the Hello Fall Market that's coming up next Saturday, September 14th at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium from 10 to 2 p.m. Always very popular. There are 80 plus vendors, I believe. Is that right, Director? Yeah, so that's excellent. One other thing, the Amazing Race Canada starts in about 20 minutes, and tonight is the finale. And I'm not sure if I told anyone, but there is a Grand Falls-Windsor connection there. Colin and Matt are the two Newfoundlanders, and Colin is the grandson of Carmen Ron Rose from Grand Falls-Windsor. So make sure you tune into CTV at 8:30 this evening to watch that. One last story, just so I'm not always, or it's a positive, funny story. So I was reading a Facebook post that Bonnie Sanson had there about the Labor Day Parade, and Bob spoke about the Labor Day Parade earlier. Her grandson, Chase, was in the parade, and he was in his motorized Jeep, and he left from Main Street, and they were waiting for his arrival at Church Road Park, and he only made it to Riverview, and Glenn had to pick up the motorized vehicle, and when Chase saw his grandmother, he said, "Nan, not gonna believe it. ran out of gas. That's all for me, Mayor.
Ran out of gas. Yeah, no, I get a couple of things there, but I just wanted to mention it's too bad our guests had left, because we talked about the last meeting, and now you brought that up, and it's too bad that the message didn't seem to get to them, because the last couple of weeks, there's been continued activity and continued waste of time for our staff. I just want to say it the way it is, and government are going to have to do something about it. The access to information, everybody deserves the right to information, absolutely. But there has to be some mechanism for measuring the amount, the intention, the amount of frivolous or, meaningless or excessive things. Because the way the legislation is now, and I use this example often when I talk about it, you could be in Arizona, and you don't even have to be a citizen in Newfoundland, and you could send access to information requests to every council or every town in Newfoundland and Labrador. You could do that 100 times a day, and that municipality would have to take the time to respond and get that information for that individual. So when Councillor Dwyer says that this is likely going to get out of hand, it's going to get out of hand. It's getting there already, and we're spending tens of thousands of dollars of our valuable taxpayer money going into getting information that is getting us to no end. There doesn't seem to be a purpose, and if it is, it's not in the best interest of the citizens. Thank you, Mayor Blackmore, for staying, by the way. Our other guests got the habit of leaving when other business comes up. They must think that there's not important business in other business. But as we know, you know how it goes around here. It's good to see you again. Mayor Blackmore, Walwyn Blackmore always joins us here when he can, and good to see him. Good Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Oh, he's moved quick then. He's a Montreal Canadiens fan. Okay. I got a couple other things. I just want to let people know. We mentioned the housing incentive program earlier. There's a couple of different programs that can benefit individuals and developers, and I'd encourage people to go on our website and to review those incentives, because they mean cash in your pocket or cash not coming out of your pocket. And we want to see people avail of that funding that we have through the Accelerator Fund and see more of that activity, so check that out. And we've been doing some work on our development regulations as well and suggesting changes in that, and we talked about the ability to have garden suites in your back garden, or a tiny home, or a garage maybe refit, a basement apartment. All those things qualify for funding. And we have to look for more density opportunities for residents, new residents, and people who are looking to move to a smaller location. And I just want to say we're not just going to let everybody develop everywhere. There is regulations that still have to be followed, and you had to meet all the guidelines, water and sewer hookup, driveway space, all that kind of stuff will be taken into consideration. But check that out, because there's big incentives there. I think there's also something on Facebook that you can get to that as well. So please do that. Just for your information, we talk a lot about health around here and our health issues and our health lobbying efforts through the Health Coalition. Councillor Dwyer is our representative there. Mr. Cyril Farrell is the chair, and we've got a group of people with a little turnover in the last couple of years, but everybody who's been involved has been exceptional. We do have a meeting on Thursday with the Minister of Health, the relatively new Minister of Health, Minister Hogan. So we're going to have an opportunity for 60 to 90 minutes, I understand, to go through some of our big issues, particularly the family care team and the progress or lack thereof. And there has been some positive progress lately, which is good to see. And our emergency department and the utter state that it's in. And it's funny because I had a text conversation with the Premier, I don't mind saying, there the other day. He was upset because I put a post up in Emerge saying to email the Premier if you, about your emergency experience, because there's a lot of people who are telling some pretty brutal stories, and the health minister and that, and he sent me a screenshot of it, and he said, you know, I'm always open and accessible, and I'm open to solutions. And I said, absolutely, and he is. I mean, for me to be able to text the Premier and get a response, you know he's open and accessible. And so I took him up on his offer, and I put back a long list of suggestions that could be implemented, some of which they're already working on, to improve our emergency department. Things as simple as, you know, having more than one doctor on there, having nurse practitioners be able to tend to some minor issues. How about better communication with the people who are in emerge? You're left to your own devices there, like there's other patients going to get blankets for people because they're cold and helping them out, and there's no answers to timing, and they're waiting there sometimes for 10, 15, 20 hours. Imagine how many people are leaving without being seen. Imagine how many people know it's bad there and not going. Just let it sink in. There's huge health consequences from that. And as I said to the minister, or to the Premier, amongst other things, was why not have some admin staff whose sole responsibility is to coordinate the emerge? You come, you register, oh, it's going to be at least, they must know. I mean, if you're going to be 20 hours, you're not going to be seen in a half hour. Go on home and we will check back in at a certain time, or we'll get back to you, and have a list of people to be able to, even people in Bishop Falls and Botwood may want to go home to wait, if they got to wait that long, and communicate to the people that are in the waiting room there. Frustrations would go down tremendously, and imagine the money you'd be saving indirectly by having a couple of positions there, which would probably cost them, I don't know, 100, 150 grand a year at the most. And all these costs of these people who, when they do get to see a doctor, all the people who haven't, are likely going to be a lot sicker than they would have been had they been seeing one all along. And there's a big cost to that. So there's other things as well. But we'll get a chance to express all that to Minister Hogan on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it, as is everybody else that's going to be involved. I don't want to miss any. I had a couple small things here. I know Angela Kelly also messaged me today, and Angela it was mentioned in the minutes about the Truth and Reconciliation Walk. And I told her I would announce this and promote it again. So the Memorial Walk for Truth and Reconciliation, presented by Sisters Gifts with the support of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, and they'd like to invite all community members on September the 30th, the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, to join us at Centennial Field in Grand Falls-Windsor at 11 a.m. to walk a lap in honor of the lost children, survivors, families, and communities affected by the legacy of residential schools trauma. We hope to engage our community in a meaningful gathering to remember those lost, connect, and walk the path of reconciliation. Remember, connect, reconcile. And anybody who's interested in going there, they are taking donations to the local food bank. So that's always an important thing to mention, because we know that they're in tremendous need. For anybody out there listening who can afford to do so, please give. And that's for Angela and Jennifer, her sister, as well. They've been doing a lot of work in this regard, and we've been helping them out and supportive as we should be. But they're doing great work in the community, put it that way. CNA, we did sponsor a breakfast at CNA, as we do every year for new students, and Councillor Hiscock and I sat down and enjoyed a bit of breakfast, and were entertained by Suzanne Ivy for about a half hour or so. But it was really appreciated. You know, Rob Sullivan was there. I don't remember Rob's official title, but I think he's kind of student coordinator, right? Yeah, so he was very appreciative again that the town were able to do that, and we were happy to be involved. Yeah, there was. Excellent crowd. Yeah.
Pictures on the Facebook page look really good.
I'm glad you mentioned Facebook, because I got one last comment I want to make before we adjourn. And I know, as I say all the time, I spend very little time on Facebook, if at all. And even me, I don't see a whole lot of the things on our own Facebook page. But I do see some things through screenshots, and if I go look at a specific topic. So there was a post last week before about the ATVs. And there was a raft of comments. I didn't read them all, but I did read that a lot of people there, their problem was that they didn't know about it. That they didn't know about it, and that, you know, you got to do a better job of promoting this. And if I had known, I say it all the time, it's very difficult to get the information out there. We put it on Facebook, radio, wherever we can put it. We're not going to reach everybody. However, what I would encourage people to do, and I'm not trying to be ignorant or sassy to residents by no means, if you're interested in taking part in the many things that the town does, our community services department is no secret that we have events and programs all year long. So check in on our website or on our Facebook page periodically to see what is going on. That way you'll know about it, because it'll be listed, dates, details, that kind of stuff. And also for people who may not be social media or computer inclined, I'm sure there's someone close to you who can look on your behalf, because we don't want people to miss out on things, and we try to promote the best we can, but it's impossible to reach everybody with everything that we do. So we have to have residents check that out on their own at times so that they know and they can take part in that. And I think is an important point that sometimes is lost. With that, I don't believe I have anything else. If I did, I missed it now, so it's too late. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Cody, seconded by Councillor Hiscock. All those in favor? Count your mind. Motion carried. We'll see you next time. Go watch Amazing Race Canada and cheer on the Newfoundlanders now.
Just like my daddy did. We back in the saddle, back on stage, making the whole place rattle. Back with the A-team, train on the track. Thought we were gone, but you're wrong. That was on. We back. Sun comes up and sun goes